20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which are Curve Lake, Rama, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nations. We acknowledge a shared presence of Indigenous nations throughout the area and recognize its original Indigenous inhabitants as the steward of its lands and waters since time immemorial. Motion to adopt the agenda, please. As amended. We've amended it since it first went out. We've added a few things. So I have a motion here. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Library Board adopts the agenda for February 12th, 2025 regular meeting. Moved by Lisa, seconded by Walt. Anybody opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, first item then is the election and appointment of the Haliburton County Library Board Chair and Vice Chair. Let's see. There's a whole thing.
So I think, Dave, I think to elect the chair, I start.
You do.
And the chair, once elected, handles the election of the vice chair.
You do. I was going to just pass it on to you. So Andrea, you're in charge.
Okay, so and thank you to Adele for pointing out that we needed to redo this at the beginning of the term. In accordance with BL 03 terms of reference of the officers, the library board shall elect a chair and vice chair at its first meeting in each calendar year for the term of the library board. Call for nominations for the chair. In accordance with BL 06, selection of officers is being opened by me. Would anyone like to nominate someone or nominate themselves to be the chair of the 2025 library?
Is there anybody who's interested? I'm happy to nominate anyone who's interested.
Can we re-nominate David?
If Dave's interested, I will nominate David, absolutely. But maybe there's another member of the public that is as well.
Anybody want to do it? I'm glad to step aside and let somebody else do it. Adele, you interested?
Not this year, no. Thank you.
All right. I guess I'm it.
Okay, so be it resolved that the nominations for the position of chair for the Haliburton County Public Library be closed and that David O'Brien be appointed as chair of the Haliburton County Public Library. Thank you very much. And so then, Dave, it's over to you now that you're back in the chair spot to elect and appoint the vice chair.
All right. So elect and appoint. Sorry.
I was just going to say, could we possibly wait to see if Jennifer and Cease join to complete this part of the agenda? I just think that would maybe be fair.
Perfect.
Oh, looks like Cease just joined.
Cease just joined.
I just came in.
It's
All
just
right.
Jennifer was the vice chair, correct? So I don't know if maybe she would like to continue to do it. I would just like to give her an opportunity in case there's nobody else who's interested. That's all. But
yeah, I agree. Very, very
whatever
good.
the committee thinks.
Great point, Lisa. We'll wait till she shows up and then we'll circle back to this one.
Okay. In the meantime, sorry, Tessa pointed out we actually need a mover and a seconder to appoint. There is a motion to appoint David O'Brien as the chair. So could I get a mover, Lisa?
I second it, Dave Burton.
Second, Dave. Okay, be it resolved that the David O'Brien be appointed as chair of the library board. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I guess then we'll defer it, Dave, and head on to back to you for the consent.
Yeah, we'll come back to 4.2 when Jenny joins us. Okay.
Yeah.
So the item 5 is a declaration of conflicts of interest. Anybody see anything? Okay, we'll move to the consent agenda, which consists of the adoption of the draft minutes of the December 11th meeting, the chief librarian's report, and the circulation by branch with totals, and all of those have been pre-circulated. Are there any questions on any of them, or does any member of the board wish to have one of them removed from the consent agenda to discuss? Seeing none, could I have a motion then to approve the consent agenda? Just make sure I'm reading this right. Just give me a sec. here we go. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Library Board accepts the consent agenda for February 12th, 2025, regular meeting as presented. Moved by Jackie, seconded by Walt. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, Andrea, I'm going to turn it over to you for the financial reports, okay?
Yes, absolutely. So there are two financial reports included in the agenda package this time. So there's the 2024 report and the report that we typically get for the previous month for January. So starting with 7.1, the 2024 report. Just to note that as of last week, the finance department was still processing our invoices. So these aren't the like grand finale numbers for the year. They're just wrapping up 2024 entries. So we'll get an official year-end statement when we do our audit process. But their approximate numbers of where we landed at the end of the year. So you'll see that we came in very under budget in the wages and benefits lines by more than 20% of what was originally budgeted. The report was run on February 7th. So you'll see that the total revenue in 2024 was $1,470,117, including a transfer from reserves. Our total expenses were 1.384 million and change. And then if we subtract the amortization, the difference between revenue and expenses was a little under $200,000. So 198,050. That's sort of where we're at for 2024. As per usual, the provincial funding did come in, late in December. So that is now showing up on the 2024 report. I think at our last meeting, it hadn't yet been received. Does anyone have questions about the report for last year?
Okay.
Just a question. The last line, the net total, the variance 175.46%. I don't understand that. Why that value is so high.
Well, so we had a lot of savings we were underspent in many areas, especially in terms of the budget line. So when everything comes to total, so the amortization, the way that the report is, amortization is in there. So if you subtract that out, it likely comes to like a really big surplus.
Not sure I understand the explanation either, but maybe I'll take it up with Adele after the account. You can explain that variance to me. Thanks very much.
So of course we carved out a huge amount of money last year, right? So, and we not only carved out $150,000 and more, we also had multiple unfilled positions for a long time. So that means that we ended up with not only what we were supposed to see, but more.
Yeah, okay. Cease, go ahead. Go ahead, Cease.
Yeah, I just was asking, like I'm having the same problem. I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the bottom and it says total expenses. It is 285,163 in brackets. So that means we were underspent by 285. And then if I look at the one below that, it says 190.
But that still includes the amortization. So if you subtract the amortization expenses, which they're not really anything. They just have to be in there of 112,876. I think is the total for those amortization cost, then the difference between the revenue and the actual expenses without that amortization is just under $200,000. So it's $198,050. So that's the $115,000 that we carved out of the staffing budget, plus a bunch of other underspent items throughout the year. We cut a whole bunch of things, right? We cut the press reader, we cut our magazines, and so a lot of that was designated. We decided on those cuts, and then in addition to that, we also had unfilled. We've been short-staffed for more than a year, so there's a lot of savings.
So what you're basically saying is we had $198,000 surplus or whatever. I'm just trying to figure out what. Pardon?
So there's still there's some invoices still to come in, but it's not the final account for 2024. But yes, we saved a lot of money last year because of all the cuts that we made.
See, there's been a whole bunch of unfilled positions at the staff level for quite.
I'm not challenging it. I'm just trying to read the damn statement is what I'm trying to figure out, what I'm looking at.
Well,
so
I share your frustration. I had the same thoughts, but yes, we underspent the budget.
So just so that I understand, we went under budget on expenses by $285,163 for various reasons, which produced a surplus of $198,050. Is that what it comes down to?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? This will be very different next year, obviously, at the end of this year, because those positions will all have been filled now. So I have a motion that be it resolved that the Haliburton County Public Library Board accepts the year-end 2024 financial report as presented. Now, just a qualifier on this, there are some small invoices that have to come in, which will affect us, but not dramatically. So what you see is probably what it's going to be within a very small margin of error. Could I have a mover, please?
Sorry, David, can I just ask a question? Is there two motions, one for the 2024 report and one for the 2025?
I've got this one for 2020 and I've got another one for 2025.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moved by, I see Adele's hand up, second by Paul. Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. I don't know who's keeping the minutes of the meeting. I can't see that far down the table, but
Tessa at the back there.
okay. Oh, Tessa, would you mind making sure that you write down who moved and seconded, because I can't do it from here and send it to you, okay?
Yep, I have this.
Thank you. Next item is the 2025 financial report.
Yeah, so this report was run on February 7th, and you'll see that it's mostly zeros in the actuals column, with the exception of wages and benefits and a few other small little charges there. So as I said, they were focused on getting the 2024 invoicing done still last week. So we have made purchases. Those will start to show up once they've been coded, like entered by finance. The thing that's not in here that I would like to draw your attention to, I received an email from staff at Dysart et al. On January 21st. They sent a notification to us that the lease had expired in the staff area of the branch. So the municipality provides the space to the public, but the library leases the office space that's shared by the team. And for the last 5 years, the amount has been steady at $14,090 per year. So that's the amount that we had budgeted for 2025. I didn't realize that there was a lease that was ending, that as long as I had been here, the amount had been the same. So we received the notice that the price is going up. So the draft lease agreement will be going to the Dysart Council meeting later this month. And they have added a 2% increase to our lease amount for each year. I received a copy of the draft lease agreement, the new one, the new version of it. And I have followed up with Dysart staff because while we can absorb, a few $100s for a 2% increase, they have actually added to Schedule C of the draft agreement HST costs. And so that is a more significant amount. So
How much is it per month?
So for 2025, the rental amount is $14,371.80. But in this version of the agreement, they've added an HST column. So that is $1,868.33 for a total of $16,240.13. So I have reached out this week to Dysart staff to inquire why HST was not being added for the last 5 years, and it is to this version. And I'm waiting to receive a response back on
Isn't most of the HST recoverable anyway?
it. It likely is.
It should be,
It
yes,
should be.
except for I think about 1.5% or something.
So it will show as being over budget. So it's usually paid in 2 installments. So it is a much higher figure than what we originally budgeted for. And so I'm not sure though why it would be showing in this agreement and not in the previous. So it is money that we'll have to pay it out. I'm not sure how it gets reclaimed. So I'm investigating that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't-
that's a difference too. That's something that we weren't accounting for, planning for in our 2025 budget.
Okay, it's not a significant amount. I don't think we probably can absorb that. Any questions on this 2025? It's January, so there's not much in there. It's only 1 month, and so there'll be a little more meat on it when we get into March or April. Any questions? Seeing none, could I have a mover and seconder, please? The motion is, be it resolved that the Haliburton County Library Board accepts the January 2025 financial report as presented. Moved by Jackie, seconded by Cease. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, the motion's carried. All right, item 8 on the agenda. Oh, before we go to item 8, we're going to go back to 4.2. I think that's it. And this is the election and appointment of the Haliburton County Library Board Vice Chair. I'd like to call for nominations for Vice Chair. Who would be interested?
Oh, there she is.
She's here. Jack here, or Jen, you want to go for another round?
I'm happy to, also happy to support the nomination of someone else if someone else would like to do it.
I already tried that for chair and it didn't work. Okay, don't say any. Jen, are you willing to accept the position?
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. I have a motion then that it be it resolved that the nominations for the position of vice chair for the Haliburton County Public Library Board be closed, and that Jennifer Dayu be appointed as the vice chair of the Haliburton County Public Library Board. All in favor? It's carried. Congratulations.
On here, do we need that? Oh, no.
Do we have a mover and a seconder? I think we need it for our sheet.
Oh, we
here.
do. Okay. I got to go back to the motion. Anyway, moved by Dave, seconded by Paul. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we'll go back to the agenda where we're at. And I'm sorry for bouncing back and forth here. I'm trying to do this with three different
Just
little-
before you go on, Dave, I've got to say that was the fastest election period I've ever experienced in my life.
And
Okay.
Mr. Chair, it must be the day because we had quite a county council meeting today as well. I was jumping around on the agenda.
That's right.
All right, let me see where I am here on the agenda. I think we're moving into policies, right?
No, those are the standing items. So
There we go. Okay, I'm back. Library policies non-standing, but we're going to speak about that in a let's do it now. Adele has raised a couple of things. One is that we have to do we have to begin to review our policies. When Chris was the CEO, we went through a whole bunch of policies, we really got caught up because there were some very, very old ones, but we didn't finish. So I think we have to keep going forward. Andrea, how many do you think we have left to review?
The substantial amount, the bulk of
Still
them.
lots? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to start bringing those forward?
Yes.
Now, we had a policy committee that was made up of, help me here because I forget, Adele and myself for sure, I remember.
It was
Yeah,
Adele, David, Jennifer, me, and Andrea.
Okay. So we would probably have to get that committee back together again to start going through the policies.
Yeah, we had said January, but obviously that didn't happen. So
No,
we
and we
should
didn't
set
have a
something
meeting.
up.
We didn't have a meeting in January, and that's why.
Yeah.
I don't think I was part of that. I'm pretty
Were
sure I
you
was.
not?
No.
Okay, that's
Okay.
what I read from last month's minutes.
Ah.
Or December minutes.
Okay. Well, we'll clarify that. Adele, would you like to comment on that?
Well, I think when Chris was here, we did have, it feels like we may have just had one go at policies. We were going to meet quarterly.
Yeah.
Originally, it was going to be every month we'd do one policy, and then we decided quarterly we'd try and knock through 4 or 5.
Yeah.
At that time, it was me, you, David. Lisa, were you on the policy committee at that point?
Not me, no.
No.
I remember discussing this and there were people that had volunteered, but I can't remember who it was. I know it was yourself for sure, Adele.
Yeah, and we did get through some policies, and I know that that once we had reviewed them and brought them to the board meeting, then they would be the plan was to put them up on the website. And every quarter we'd go through, I think 4 or 5, have a meeting. Yeah. And once they were done, they'd go on the website. So I get the feeling it's not going to be a lot of work. I think probably the biggest amount of work will be choosing a meeting date.
Probably.
But they're good policies. They just as part of our board work, we do have to review them because that's what we say we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope it's not going to be a lot of work. I did offer to help Andrea in terms of looking at them or any kind of help you need with actually getting going on this. But as I say, it's part of our board work. It's part of our policies. We have to do it.
Well, it looks like the committee is going to be Adele, Jackie, and myself for now, unless anybody wants to jump in and join us.
I have a question, David.
Go ahead, Paul.
Is there a priority on the on selection or determining which policy will be reviewed, or are they strictly in the order as they fall in the book?
Of course, yeah. So each policy of the board has a revision date.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
So they'll be on a regular cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But
Thanks.
of course, I mean, we've had a couple of unusual years. So so
A couple of them have.
But
Yeah.
David, I think last month, the last meeting, we did choose, or 5 people volunteered to sit on this policy committee.
Yeah, and I don't know who volunteered other than Jackie, you, and myself.
It is in here.
Councillor Dayu as well, Jennifer.
There you go, Jen. Now we got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says David O'Brien, Adele Spina, Jennifer Dayu, Jackie, and myself.
Okay. You okay with that, Jackie?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, and Jen?
Well, sure. I'm happy to. I've never acknowledged participation on that because I honestly have a mind hole where I said I would do that. But I'm happy to do it from now on. And if I've missed every meeting until now, then I apologize.
No, we haven't had any.
My recollection is that you kind of got goaded into it.
We haven't
because
had any,
to
so
get an
welcome,
elected
welcome to the
member.
team.
Okay,
All right, okay, so that's the committee then, and we'll leave it to Andrea to help us organize our first meeting, okay?
Yes.
Canvass this for a time. I think Adele's right. The hardest thing's going to be is getting a date for the meeting. Okay, any business arising from the minutes of the last meeting? I don't see any on the agenda, so we'll go to new business, which is the communication coordinator's role that we have to confirm. I think I have a motion on here.
Yeah, so is it okay, David? I'll run through.
Yeah, give us a little background. This
Yeah.
has been before us before, and we deferred it, I know, until Andrew had a chance to speak with the
Yeah, so I'll just do
county committee.
a run through, and especially Warden Burton is joining us for the first time. So at the last meeting, you had requested that I take away the communications coordinator position and liaise with county staff to determine whether it would be feasible to create a joint library and county position. And just as a bit of further background, the library staffing model review was put forward and approved in June. We did a number of cost-cutting measures, so we eliminated our admin support coordinator role. We cut the programming and outreach coordinator from full-time to part-time. We cut the hours of the deputy CEO and the CEO. And we, with fewer people and hours, we rearranged all of the tasks. This was so that we could save more than $15,000. So per the board's request, I had multiple email back and forth and documents back and forth and an in-person meeting with the Director of Economic Development and the HR manager at the county. We discussed kind of what that could look like. So this is the point of this is to kind of do a run through of where things are at and then ask for your support in next steps. I just as well for background, we did advertise this 4-day-a-week position. In the fall, we did get a number of qualified applicants. We did pay for the newspaper advertisements and all that. We've since reached out to all of those people who applied to say that the competition is on hold until further notice. Through these discussions, what I've learned is that the county is actually interested in hiring a communications manager. Whereas what we had put forward that was approved by the board is to have a communications coordinator, which would be taking on communications, marketing communications work from the role that Tessa was doing previously, and the bulk of administrative work, which was from a position that we have eliminated entirely. So we, if you recall, we put all of those tasks together in a 4-day-a-week, 28-hour position, and we advertised that job. Now, what it means for the county wanting a communication manager is that they would want someone with much more expertise, and they would want to pay them at a higher county manager rate. So we had sent our position with communications work and admin work to Marianne Love, external consultant, to evaluate the job. And it came in at a library band 5 rate. That's how she categorized it. Through these discussions, the county staff would not want the person in the communications role to do any of the library administrative work. So they would be wanting to have someone more qualified, pay them more, and not do the many jobs that wanted and expected the person in this role to do. So if we proceed with having a joint role, we are still gonna have to hire an admin support coordinator anyway. So to do all the other admin parts of the job. So if we imagine we would give the county 2 days of our job and have 2 days of our job, the budget's already pre-approved for admin. What we would get in exchange, because the person would be paid at a higher rate, is less time working for the library. So in going back and forth, we talked a lot about expectations, what the county staff would have for this team member and what the library would have. One of the things that we had said is that we would like someone who could work in the library once a week on Wednesdays. That's when our team meeting is. It's when our library board meetings occur. From the county's perspective, they said that they would worry about that person doing admin work and not communications work. So they did not think that coming to the library, working in the library 1 day a week would be feasible for them, nor participating in the minute taking of the meeting, the preparation of the documents ahead of time, and all that type of work. So it would be more expensive. We get less time for the library. I also have concerns about how the work would be prioritized. One of the non-negotiables for the county was that the person would report directly to the Director of Economic Development and not to me or anyone in the library. So I am concerned about how that would work in terms of them prioritizing library work, especially when they're not physically here, one day a week. We talked about that, band 5. So if we were to move forward with the joint role, as I said, we would need you to agree that we have to have an admin support coordinator, not a full-time job, but we need to divide the hours that we approved in the budget, hire someone to do the admin work, and then give the money to the county to have part of a county person paid at a higher rate. Another concern that I have is their time horizon. It's for much longer. Hiring a manager, we'd have to make a new job description. It would get posted. Someone with more experience, it would probably take them longer to get here. So in terms of their time horizon, they said realistically, they'd be looking at the summer or the fall to have someone come in.
Okay, Andrea.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think you've given us the story. It would seem that it'd be in our best interest to go ahead and hire this coordinator for ourselves, which was the original plan way back when.
That is my recommendation.
Okay.
And that's what I'm hoping that you will, the direction you will agree to today.
Okay, I have a motion. Any questions on what Andrea said before I read the motion? I have a motion that reads, be it resolved that Haliburton, I'll do a little background. This is a long, outstanding, well thought, well talked about position for over a year now. And so we're coming to the conclusion of those discussions after discussing it with the county. Our motion is that be it resolved that the Haliburton County Library Board directs the CEO to proceed with hiring a library communications coordinator based on the job description that was reviewed by a consultant and approved during the June 12th, 2024 Library Board meeting. Motion number 139-204. If there's no questions, again, I'll ask for a mover and seconder for this motion if there is one. Somebody move in second. Moved by Walt.
Just had a question.
Oh, sorry, Walt, go ahead. Excuse me.
Give me a real quick Coles Note version of communications manager, whatever they call them, his job.
So the job that we have for our communications role would be doing things like for the library board, prepping for these meetings in terms of documents, taking the minutes, creating a monthly print programming calendar, designing posters and flyers for programs, events, scheduling social media posts, preparing newsletter content, using our Library Aware software, providing content for external organizations. So when the Arts Council or the Minden want something for their rec brochure, those types of things. Writing content for local media and, you know, advertising on Canoe, that type of thing. Writing content for our website, creating the signs that you see around the branch, you know, for different elections, different events that we're holding.
Okay, and what would the salary be for that position?
The salary is the salary range is 3105 is the starting salary. The range is 3105 to 3632.
So, Warden,
That's the 2024 rate.
Warden, and all other fellow councilors there, county councilors, should like we don't need to discuss this at the county, or no?
Are you asking me? I was
I'm just wondering, like.
Dave, can I go ahead?
Yeah.
This money has already been approved. It's already been approved by the library board, and it's already in our 2025 budget. And in fact, we haven't, now we're mid-February and we are already spent because we haven't had somebody in this role for, well, for many months, but for the year until now. So we've already saved money.
Okay.
Thanks, Walt.
Thank you.
A mover, please, and a seconder. Moved by Paul, seconded by Adele. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now we have the municipal roundtable update. Would any of the elected members of the board want to speak about what's been going on out and about there in the political world? Lisa?
Thank you. Yeah, I've just written a note here just to make sure that I say this correctly. Minden Hills, we had our budget discussions last week. Well, we've been having them for a couple of months, but we had our hopefully final one last week. And the rooftop, or the roof, pardon me, and the rooftop units for the cultural center and library were included in our 2025 budget.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yes.
That's really, really good news.
I'm not an elected official, but I'd like to comment and tell Walt that I just paid my interim tax bill to Dice. So that'll help a little bit. Okay, no closed session required. Next meeting date is March 12th at 4:00 p.m. via Zoom it says, but hopefully some of us can show up. The winter weather hopefully will be over by then, or well on its way to being over, and we can all gather in a room together and have a face-to-face. Anyway, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. It is approved by, resolved that the February 12, 25 regular meeting of Haliburton County Library Board now adjourned. I need a mover only, not a seconder or a motion. Paul's got his hand up. Okay, we're now adjourned. Thank you very much, and it is 4:39 p.m.
Thanks very much. Well done.
See you all.
Take care, everyone. See you later.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
I'll still be zooming in March, but I'll